Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Dream versus Solar. In the bottom left we have Dream. The top right we have Solar. And Solar is an interesting one. I think both players are very cool and quite interesting. But the thing with Solar is that he's one of these players that has been extremely good for a long time. Like we're thinking back to 2013, 2014. He was around. He was doing well. I think he won DreamHack Stockholm 2015, maybe even in 2014. I can't quite recall what the exact dates were over there, but very solid Zerg player. He has been good. He's always been good. But whenever it comes to those big moments, he seems to just lack that little bit of finesse, that little bit of, the final meters, basically, to the end goal. That's where he tends to struggle. That's where he tends to trip. He's a very solid mid-late game player. His army control is extremely powerful. We've seen him go up against Terrans and kind of just destroy them in the late game with that Infestor Broodlord control. Dream, on the other hand, is a player that he has more different build orders and more different styles than he has fingers and toes on his body. I've heard that he just has a regular amount of those, so that would be about 20. He's a very a diverse player, I would say. Someone that can 2-rex, he's someone that can 3-rex. He can play bio, he can play mech, he can play everything. And calling him a jack of all trades, I think would not be correct either, because he's a player that is very good at everything he does. He is someone that just spends a lot of time thinking about these build orders, thinking about these styles and how to best use these styles. And how to transition from a weird build into some alternative style that we don't see very often at this level. So we already have an opener that differs from majority of the TVZ openers, as it's a marine into factory into reactor. This is the fastest possible factory from a 1 barracks expand, basically. It's the same timing factory as you would get from a gas before barracks. And then we immediately see a second factory going down behind the main mineral line. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is a build we don't see very often. I think Special did it against Dark recently on Hardwire Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. But that was with a Reaper. So this is still different. And that really tends to be how Dream plays. Back then Special went into Cyclones from this and Infernal Pre-Igniter, also known as the Blue Flame Hellion. We'll see if that's going to be the case here, or if it's just going to be a very large Hellion production. It's of course also a possibility. These Hellions are just looking for something on the map, making sure that there's no run by potential. This Link tries to get in, but should be able to get denied. Will get denied indeed. Should be no, it's only a single Marine out to deny all scouting. So this Marine actually has a very important task here. If that second factory gets found, a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest can make short work of a push like this. But yeah, this is potentially very scary. Often, by the way, although this opens up with double factory, this will end up going into something else, into bio, not mech. So that sounds weird, but well, if Dream decides to not go in, I can explain why that is. Often with mech, the main thing that you're worried about are things like swarm host. And that's why almost every single mech build order opens up with battle cruisers. Battle cruisers deny swarm host very, very well. And if you don't open up with any air units and you just open up with double factory, your opponent plays swarm host against your mech. Most of the time you're going to be in trouble. It's difficult to get good trades with a pure ground army. The BCs really have an important role there, not just with the Yamatos, but also in damaging the Locusts, taking out Nidus networks. Just some type of map control that the Zerg can't really deal with without Corruptors or a lot of Queens. Or maybe Hydra suck, I'm not even going to mention them. We actually are seeing a tech lab. No, this is a reactor. Alright, I'm a little bit confused now. I'm not so sure anymore. This could go into Widowmine drops with the Drilling Claws upgrade. So we have this initial push here with these Hellions, with the Infernal Pre-Igniter, which is just going to deal a lot of damage here. Solar's not quite ready for it. The Roach Warren is on the way, but it's not going to be in time. A lot of damage is being dealt right now. 7 workers have gone down already. 44 workers for Solar against the 41 of Dream. This is good control though out of Solar. If he target fires, he can get 2-3 more Hellions. There's no more links on the way though, and these 3 Hellions on the tail end of this little push might actually be able to get a lot done. 3 more workers go down, a lot of low drones, and Dream tries to get another shot in. 15 workers fall, and I assume that drones immediately start. Bunker gets built here. 30C, however, is not done yet. Drilling Claws has not started either. We have a double medevac coming out. This is an insane build order. This actually is an insane build order. He's going to go for a double 4 mine drop, or 1 triple mine and 1 4 mine drop. And I think this is still going into bio. He has a tank. That tank will be used defensively. If this had Drilling Claws, this would have actually been the sickest build that I've seen in my life. But even without Drilling Claws, this still has a lot of potential. There's 7 mines right now. That means that we have 4 in the one medevac, 3 in the other. These 2 bad boys get split up, obviously. Solar needs to respond very quick here. He already lost 15 workers. And he's lucky, well lucky, he's allowed to drone up because his opponent will not be able to put on any real pressure. I mean, the barracks are extremely delayed. But there, of course, is the ability for Dream here to continue his harassment. Solar needs to respond quickly. Solar needs to respond well. This medevac is going to go in. These queens need to target down the medevac. Will not quite get the medevac yet. And oh my god, these mines dealing so much damage. Well, actually, I thought I was going to get a big hit, but it was only 5 drones going down right now. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, this was completely okay. I actually kind of like this. Overseer is going to come by as well. Not a lot of units were built in a response either, which is good. You want to get that drone count up. We immediately see that infestation bit as well. And that's brilliant, because this leaves, you know, in the case of bio, you can just go into a very fast hive and start getting those lurkers up really, really quick. And maybe even with a 4th base around. And in the case that your opponent plays Mech, what you can do instead is you can just go into swarm host. Now, of course, Solar has already spotted the fact that this is bio, so it's most likely just going to get a Hydra den and that quick hive. And this is the type of cave bob style that that Dark really popularized. Just rushing into the lurkers as soon as you can, not caring too much about the creep spread. This is good queen movement, by the way. Nice vision as well with this little Ling. He could try and cut that off with the queens. I mean, he saw the movement of that mine drop. He's not going to move there in time, though. The first stim push is going to hit extremely late, after the 8-minute mark, which is, normally speaking, not a great start here for the Terran. Worker count is close. Fort base is really fast as well. It's actually faster than the Zerg fort base. That's something we don't see every single day. But at this point, I think we've pretty much skipped the mid game, and the early game was okay for Solar. It wasn't brilliant. It wasn't the best defense I've seen in my life. I mean, he ended up losing 21 workers. But at the same time, these drops and these Hellion run-bys, they could have just basically outright killed Solar here. And they did not. So we're kind of heading into an even game where the upgrades for Dream are delayed. The tech for Dream is delayed. I mean, Lurker then is going to finish by the time the first push is about to hit. But the eco for Dream is looking quite good. So if we would divide this position up in 3 things, and it being the eco, the tech, and what else did I say? The upgrades, then I think Dream is behind in 2 of the 3. And that means it's most likely a good scenario here for Solar. This, of course, given that he manages to defend. We have the extra barracks already going up as well. Vipers on the way. Creep also, of course, an important factor often in this matchup. And the funny thing is that with the army comp that Solar is playing with, usually it's really difficult to defend creep. But because of this passive early and mid game, or at least it's not, like, it wasn't really passive, but it's not big pushes. Like, there's no marine pushes, which are often the main thing in dealing with creep. The creep has just been kind of uncontested. So Lurkers are gonna get out with 2/2 upgrades, with adaptive talents, with seismic spine soon as well. Half the map will be covered in creep. Walking on the map right now for Dream is that might just be a dream for him, actually. Like, I don't think this is actually going to be too possible. Right side is already locked off with these lurkers. I am surprised by seeing adaptive talents before the seismic spines. This is something that both Solar and Dark like to do. But you ask any of the other Korean Zergs or any of the other foreigner Zergs, and they'll say, no, that's awful. Always get seismic spines first. It's just huge impact on the fights, that 2 extra range. And the adaptive talents with the quick burrow is nice. but it's just not as useful as everything else would be. This medevac is getting spotted, and I think there's Vipers out, so these Vipers could decide to make their way over towards the left side of the map, throw down a couple of parasitic bombs and deal with this double mine drop, but Solar doesn't seem to be in a hurry for that. Lynx try to take out these rocks, and I agree with that decision. I think at this point, if you're Solar, you want the map to be as open as possible. You want to try and get some damage in. There's really not that many tanks, I was gonna say, and then I saw there were 10. Well, and I'm gonna finish that sentence differently. There's really not that many tanks on the right side right now, which means that these lurkers could be actually dealing some real damage. Without seismic spines, though, this unit is kind of useless. Of course, with abducts, you can pull everything a bit closer. No scans are being used. A couple of more abducts are available. I actually do believe that Solar should be using them. This is a cool move out, by the way. It's going to end up losing that lurker over there. Oh, double pull in. I think that's 4 tanks for a single lurker. That's quite a good trade here for Solar. At the same time, Solar's taking out a tank over here. No, doesn't quite manage it. Didn't have enough biles ready. Solar's trading well, is on 96 workers, which is a high worker count. He has 10 gases, which is a high gas count. And he's not really losing very much at the moment. This mine will drop, but it will not deal damage. The burrow was not in time. The Vipers went back home to gather a little bit more energy. They want to continue abducting. This is sometimes where you see aggressive evo chambers being placed on the map, so that the traveling distance for the Viper is a little bit less. Look at the range of these lurkers, by the way. How many tanks do we have here? There's 8 tanks, and 4 of those are on the right side. With Ghost available, the Vipers are a little less broken in this situation, but really, if Solar takes out 2 tanks, he can probably just run into this position. And that's a very scary thought here for Dream. Like, Dream only has 3 tanks right now positioned on this side. I am afraid. I really am afraid for Dream. Taking a 5th base is going to be hell. And even defending these 4 bases is already difficult. Now, we do have this Overseer in the main base, looking for a Nidus position. Dream's already there, though. Quick response here out of the Korean Terran player. Do have a couple, holy crap. It's like an infinite amount of lurkers here in this thing. I think it's 9. 9 lurkers in the Nidus network. With 93 workers and a lurker army, it's often difficult to deal any real damage. So it feels like Solar is playing for a longer late game. And given the position that he's in with the creep, with the eco, with his unit count, I don't really mind it. Double abducts, very useful. Yeah, Ghost just slightly out of position. You lose 2 tanks like that. Now we even see these Ghosts being abducted in. Solar is feeling very frisky here with these pools. It's kind of cool. And Nidus network goes down once again in the main base. These Vikings will try to deal with that. Or at least deal with the Overseers. The Marines and Marauders should be capable of dealing with everything else. Drop might get sent out there. No, I think this is a fake lift-off. I mean, there's a Ghost in there. It's very rare to see a drop with a Ghost in there. 5 tanks on the left side should be able to defend that. And we have actually only 6 tanks. So that means a single tank on the right side. This right base is the key vulnerability here. And I think Dream realizes that. Want to build a second planetary, then cancels it, goes for an orbital. I didn't mind the second planetary, honestly. If you want to play low tank count, a second planetary is a tool that can help you at least delay your opponent's push and maybe even defend kind of fruitfully against high baneling counts. Solar decides to go in towards the 3rd base. I don't think this is the optimal location. There's a lot of units here. Tanks do get pulled in. The Vipers semi stay alive. At least one of them stays alive. Can we get a parasitic bomb? Yes, we can. Vikings will take out all the Vipers now, though. The lurkers are in a bit of trouble as well. Solar still with a pretty decent trade. He's building 74 links behind this. 7 more Hydras, and there's still 4 lurkers remaining here. There's no Overseer, though, and that means that these invisible ghosts might be capable of taking out every last unit over here. Good control on that final ghost as well. Nice movement in general here out of Dream. But that fight, unit lost-wise, wasn't even that bad for Solar, honestly. But overall, I mean, if you have a bank of 4 or 5k resources and your opponent is struggling to stay maxed, you just want to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And that's exactly what Solar is doing here. Dream has a lot of orbitals. And Dream is, I think, is going to be a planetary here. Sensor tower forward as well. This is a good defensive position. If Dream gets to stabilize and starts taking the trades that he needs, it will be fine. But Solar does not want to wait for that. Adrenal glands is done. The melee upgrades aren't. So these are 0-3 links here. But with Adrenal glands, we have all these Hydras burrowing, trying to cosplay as a lurker. Hello, you might want to be unburrowing these, buddy. That's definitely going to cost a lot of damage output from this army. These Hydras were burrowed for a solid 12-13 seconds. That is a lot of damage that you're missing. And this was a decent fight once again here for Dream. Up 2k in resources lost, didn't lose all that much. I'm not a huge fan of these forward pushes. I think it's good to try and force out as many units, like kind of panic units that build quickly, rather than allowing Solar to transition into something that perhaps you're not ready for. And then standing at this tower, oh, he wants to actually take a 6 base. This could be very dangerous though. Dream in a little bit of trouble. Snipes go down, more Banelings rolling in. Hydras this time are unburrowed. Will help in this fight. Dream is doing it. He's actually doing it. He completely depleted Solar's bank. Just needs to make sure that he doesn't get hit by any of these Banelings. But the control so far is very, very good. These medevacs are running out of energy right now. 2 more medevacs are on the way. I see 4 in the unit stab. There we go. This position is so powerful, of course. With that watchtower, we see this tank being placed slightly further towards the back. And this base is... I still believe this is the main vulnerability of Dream's entire defense. And the moment that Solar realizes that and can start pushing through that right side, I mean, there's a lot of assets here that belong to Dream. I love this Ling run by. I think this is such a good little play. They do need to get controlled a little bit. At the same time, we have a fight. Lurkers moving in. We'll start dealing some damage. Turret gives that auto detection, though. There's not enough tanks here. Ghost will try to get as many snipes off as they can, but without the tank backup, there's only 4 tanks on the map right now, and I don't quite see where they are. Well, there's 0 of them in position. That actually is an issue. This base needs to get lifted. If these Hydras go to town on this base, with all 5 of them, I think he might be capable of taking out this command center as well. That would be very annoying. Right side base is being taken. 6 SCVs go down, and now we have another rotation here out of Solar. Dream once again not ready with any tank defenses. Solar is finding holes in well, what felt like honestly, an almost perfect Dream, at least on that left side. This is kind of wild, as Solar's just gonna roll in, says, okay, you have nothing right now, I'm going to get in position. Lurkers used for zoning out the Ghost, and then my Ling Hydra Bane can move towards the right side. There is a lot of tanks here, so perhaps that isn't quite a play. Oh, can we get an abduct? Can we get an abduct? I think we can. No, Blinding Cloud instead being used. This is actually the only tank that's here. A bunch of these Ghosts are going to get caught as well. This Orbital will fall. Now, this Orbital got lifted, which is something at least. Still not absolutely brilliant though. 5 more Banes on the way, plus 2 melee as well starting. As Solar is kind of blasting Dream at this point. I love this quick move forward. These command centers could be used perhaps for blocking stuff. There's not that many Lurkers, but I do believe this base might end up falling anyway. Banelings will connect with these SCVs, and that means the end of the repair. Lurkers get sniped in the back. A lot of these Lings will get taken out by the Marines as well. Let's not forget these Lings, not great at fighting with only +1 attack. Lings on the left side will go down, but 22 workers have fallen. There is a planetary for a backup. There's still a lot of orbitals. We're working with 8 orbital commands, and this drop with 4 Marines has taken out a base on the far right side. Dream continues scanning and saying, hey, where are you at, buddy? What do you have? Units lost actually has remained pretty close, so Solar is doing a good job. And this is the most important base right now. If these mules get to mine their entire duration, Solar could still be in a little bit of trouble, because we first also need to wait for that production wave that comes out of these mules, of course, to produce. But once that happens, I think Solar might actually be in a bit of a rough spot. He's trying to mine his opponent's base and is doing a good job here on the top left. He's doing a good job here trying to get at bottom right as well. I love the Nidus on the right side, because this has been the weak spot the entire time. Now, this base is practically mined out, but this also allows for quick defensive rotations towards this base. If it is necessary, Ling Bane starts moving in towards that right side fort base. Dream still struggling to get a 6th base up, honestly. Lurkers move in. There's absolutely nothing here to defend. Ling Bane is going to try to catch all of these Ghosts, and they might actually get it. Overseers are here. Banelings do get some decent connections. Marines do snipe a lot before they get to those Marines. So the Banelings will fall. This base falls as well. A couple of orbitals need to lift, and sometimes you get in the situation where all your orbitals need to lift, and as a result, you don't have scans anymore. That's not quite the case yet, but there's almost no medevacs with this army. This army is very low. Dream is in trouble. GG gets called as Solar moves towards the right side, and as he does that once, manages to break Dream in this brilliant little TVZ. Fun opener as well out of Dream, honestly. That was it, the Blue Flame Hellion into the 7 mine drop, into basically a late game from there on out. He got where he wanted to get, but Solar also wanted to get there, and I think Solar got there a little bit faster with a lot of creep. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.